just because you promote before me or you know, move up faster than me, you know, I shouldn't get frustrated because Charlie's time is different than Michael's time. You know, and so, and that's what a lot of people, you know, deal with. And so you have to, you know, instead of, you know, questioning yourself and saying, what's wrong with me? Why didn't I get that promotion? Or whatever, you should get behind that person and celebrate the fact that they've advanced, and then just have faith in yourself that your time is coming.
Welcome to Chat with Charlie. Today we have the honor to have Dr. Michael O'Gwen here today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Hello, it's Charlie, your go-to for mastering the art of public speaking and career advancement. Welcome to Chat with Charlie, where industry professionals share their invaluable insights and advice to help you excel within your desired industry. Get ready to dive deep into the minds of accomplished individuals as they unravel strategies, share personal experiences, and provide actionable tips that you won't get anywhere else. So we're excited to have you here today. You know, I love public speaking, so we have to start off with a public speaking game. Are you willing to play?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you spin the wheel, and then you tell the folks what game. All the games are PG.
We're gonna play this or that.
Okay, this or that. Thank you. I'm gonna give you different words, and you're gonna tell me which word, this or that.
Okay.
I'm gonna set the timer. You can't be here all day, so you gotta think fast. Party or game?
Party.
Song or scramble?
Scramble.
Cedar or scent?
Cedar.
Easy or hard?
Easy.
Wendy's or hamburger?
Hamburger.
Baconator or chili?
Chili.
You sound real confident with it.
Yeah, I'm confident. If it was between the Baconator or the chili, I'm gonna take the Baconator.
Okay, last one. Piano player or musician?
Piano player.
Hey, that's it. Thank you, thank you. Good job. Good job. All right, let's do what the people are here for. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. O'Gwen, what is your industry and what drew you to the field? What do you do?
So I'm in the field of education, and my current position is Superintendent of Schools. And, you know, I work in a medium-sized district in the state of Texas.
What drew you to that field? What made you want to be a superintendent?
So my journey to where I currently am right now started back when I was 9 years old. I grew up in a small town in East Texas in poverty, and, you know, of a single parent. Mom had me when she was 16, and when I started school, there was a teacher who saw potential in me. She encouraged and she invested in me, and she made sure I was taken care of. She knew that we were struggling, and so she provided me with enough attention, love, care, and encouragement that I thought, wow, this is a really cool person. And at a very early age, I started thinking, you know, I'd like to be able to do for somebody else what she did for me.
Wow, that's powerful. And again, remind the people what you do.
I'm a superintendent of schools.
People may want to know a little bit more. What exactly is that?
So a superintendent of schools is the head of the school district. You're the face of the district. You oversee the day-to-day operations of the district. You know, every facet of the district, from campuses to departments, you know, community service, PR. You know, it's a job that requires many hats, lots of different focuses, but the ability to be able to pivot and change in an instant, because in schools, there's things that are going on all the time.
That's a really humble, nice way to say he's the boss. He runs the entire school district, but that's a very nice way, that subtleness with it. So which has been more valuable in your career, your education or your experience?
I think my experiences, and I don't want to minimize education, because obviously you wouldn't get the job if you didn't have the prerequisite credentials in order to be able to get the job. But the things that I've been able to do in my 20 plus years in education, the experiences I've had, the type of schools that I've worked in, the type of situations that I've encountered and been able to be successful and thrive in, I think those have given me probably the biggest benefit, because everybody's looking for somebody to be able to help them solve a problem. And I just happen to be someone who's been in a lot of different diverse situations. And so I feel like I bring a lot to the table, and I have a lot to offer.
What skills have you found vital to your job?
I think the most important skill is the ability to be able to communicate. If you're going to be in a leadership position, it is extremely important that you are able to communicate, but not just communicate, but be able to communicate with a variety of different people on a variety of different levels. And probably the most significant part of communication is the ability to be able to listen. I can communicate with you and you can communicate back and forth with me, but am I listening to what you're saying? Am I hearing and understanding what you're trying to communicate with me? And then do I have the ability to be able to take that information and be able to utilize it to be able to give you what you need when you need it in order for you to be successful?
I like that. Communication. What adversity did you encounter as you advanced within your field?
So in my current situation, the challenge that we face is change. We are, not too far away from being in the era of COVID. And so COVID brought about a lot of changes. And that change seemed to exacerbate a lot of things that were probably laying below surface level that a lot of people didn't talk about before, such as social, emotional health and well-being of people. And so a lot of that, came out and has come out since COVID. And so when you create change, when there's a change, sometimes that affects a person's social, emotional health and well-being. And so you have to be really, really strategic when you're trying to implement change about how you do it, when you do it, how you frame it, how you present it to the people, because you don't know what the reaction is going to be with change.
I know you didn't start out as a superintendent, so was there any challenges or adversity that you had to encounter to get to this point? I
think the biggest adversity that I faced is that, mindset of other people. When you decide that you want to embark on a leadership journey, everybody has their own mindset or their own philosophy of how they think that it should go, whether or not you should be at a particular position, a prerequisite amount of time before you promote to the next position. And there's a lot of people out there that feel like you got to do something 1,000 years before you get good at it before you can move forward.
Right.
But
we don't have 1,000 years.
Exactly, because none of us are going to be here. Dinosaurs have proven that, but no. So my mindset has always been different on that. I'm a firm believer that everybody's time is different, and so when you begin your leadership journey, you first of all you have to know what you want to do, and then you have to develop a plan. And I hate to sound old school, but you have to develop a plan. But you also have to remember that everybody's time is different. You and we could have the same goals and aspirations for what our leadership journey is going to be, but I have to understand that your time is going to be different than mine. And so if we're competing or we're aspiring to be the same thing, just because you promote before me or you move up faster than me, I shouldn't get frustrated because Charlie's time is different than Michael's time. And so that's what a lot of people, deal with. And so you have to, instead of questioning yourself and saying, what's wrong with me? Why didn't I get that promotion? Or whatever, you should get behind that person and celebrate the fact that they've advanced, and then just have faith in yourself that your time is coming.
Don't ever let someone tell you that you're too young, or you're too old, or you too this or that, loud, dark, light. Don't let them put that TOO in your life. You're exactly who you're supposed to be. And if they can't accept it, that's on them.
And the one thing, in closing on this point, that I like to tell people is if you're baking bread, and I'm a big guy, so the big guy talking about food, but if you're baking bread and you decide, you take the ingredients for a loaf of bread and you decide I'm going to make 2 loaves of bread, so I'm going to double the ingredients up and I'm going to mix them all up at the same time, and then I'm going to pour each loaf of bread into its own pan. You set the oven at the prerequisite temperature to bake the bread. When you put the bread in the oven, they have the same ingredients. They were mixed in the same bowl, and they came out at the same time. You poured them in and you placed them in at the same time. But one loaf of bread is going to be ready before the other, and so everybody's time is different. And so that's what I try to get them to understand.
I like that. I do. I don't know how to make bread. I don't know what ingredients is, but I like it, and I want to do it. I want to try this out. Have you ever really made a loaf of bread? I know the wife has.
Well, I'm a baker, so you got to give me credit. My wife is a great cook, but I'm the baker in the family. And so I can bake, but I can cook anything. I'm a jack of all trades.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. That was beyond what I wanted from that question. So you kind of talked about a little bit of the skill sets that are necessary earlier today, but what skills have you found vital for your job and why? Beyond, I know you mentioned communication skills, but is there
the ability to be able to adapt at a split second, or as in educational terms, a lot of people say pivot. So you have to be able to pivot, because your day is not your day. You have to realize that there's multiple variables that go into play working in the field of education. And the moment you show up at work, whether you're on a campus or you're in central office, you can have the perfect calendar. But when you walk into the office or you walk into your campus or you walk into your classroom, your day is no longer your day. Wow. We can plan it out, but you got to be able to pivot based on what happens when the people start showing up. And so if I'm a teacher, I have the perfect lesson plan. But what am I going to do when the kids show up and then they're not responding to the lesson the way that I anticipated them responding? How do I pivot to get the students engaged? If I'm a campus administrator and, we plan to do arrival or dismissal a certain way, but you know what? The arrival bell or the dismissal bell rings, and then they're not going down the hallways or exiting or entering in the areas that you anticipated them entering in. How do you pivot as an administrator or a campus leader and make the most out of that situation? Same thing in central office. We have a theoretical framework or we have a plan, but the perfect plans, they rarely ever get executed. And so how do you pivot to make sure that you're still able to execute and get what the intended outcome was? At the end of the day, I tell people this: we have a plan. This is our vision. Here's how I would like to see it done. But at the end of the day, as long as you get to the desired destination and you don't hurt, harm, or injure anybody, and you don't do anything illegal, then I'm excited that we got to the final destination, because that really is the perfect example of being able to pivot, because there's going to be obstacles and roadblocks along the way.
I like that. Word of the day: pivot. If you could do it all over again, what would you do differently, or what would you tweak if it wasn't completely different? But if you could do this journey all over again, what would you do differently?
I would definitely stay on this journey, because this is what God placed me here on this earth to do. I didn't realize it, but it just took that special person coming in my life to help me realize that, hey, this is something that you're intended to do. So I definitely wouldn't change the journey at all. Probably what I would do is I would prioritize family more. A lot of people in my field struggle with work and home balance. And so you can have a successful career and you can promote and you can move up through the career and you don't have to sacrifice family. But when I was younger, I didn't realize that. I was just so focused on providing for my family and promoting, because I saw promoting as a vehicle to be able to provide my family with a lifestyle that I wanted them to have, that before I knew it, my kids were grown. And I had invested and spent so much time with other people's children that I didn't spend, in my opinion, the amount of time that I wanted to spend with my own children and with my own wife, who I've been married to for 32 years. And so what happens is you have that moment, inevitably, you have that moment where you look back and you say, wow, my kids are grown. They're about to fly the coop. They're about to live, and we're about to be here by ourselves. Me and my wife, she probably looked at me and said, do I still like this guy as much as I liked him all those years ago? And I was probably doing the same thing. But if along the way I would have invested a little bit more time into making sure that everything with the family, with the kids was taken care of, and realized that it doesn't mean that I'm sacrificing for the career, that's the one thing that I would change. It's critically important that you take care of you and your family. I tell people this all the time: take care of you and your family, because if you don't take care of home, then you're not going to be able to take care of us here at work.
I like that a lot. Meanwhile, y'all, both of his kids are very successful. Full rides to college. One's about to be a doctor. But that honesty and being vulnerable like that and sharing that, it is important to be able to have that work-life balance. I appreciate you speaking to that. We'll end with advice, because everybody loves a good piece of advice, which you have shared so many great pieces already. But if you could give advice to someone interested in entering your field and doing what you're doing now, what advice would you provide them?
Never let anyone steal your energy, and never let anyone steal your joy. Because in this field, just like a lot of fields, people take your energy. Some of it is intentional and some of it is unintentional. Same thing with joy. Some people take your joy and your passion for what you do. At the end of the day, we all have a bigger purpose. And so you got to remember, why is it that I chose this path? What is the none of us chose education because we want to get wealthy. Can you have a decent lifestyle? Of course you can, but you're not going to get rich being in education. And so you got to go back down to, why am I doing that? There's a certain passion that I have that goes back to the joy and energy that doing this work brings me. And so never let anybody take those away from you.
Wow, that's powerful. Don't let everybody take your energy. Don't let everybody take your joy. I think that's a great way for us to end our conversation today. So,
I would like to just add that I'm so excited for you and the journey that you're on. I remember when we were assistant principals together. It seems like forever ago. But when you were an assistant principal, actually, to be honest, when we were going through the application process and we selected you, there was something about your application that stood out. And then when we selected you and you and I were assistant principals together and I got to be your mentor, AP, and we got to work together. Those were some great times, but I saw the potential back then. And so I just want to let you know that you're blessed to have the family that you have, to have a supportive husband, and your family always encouraging you to pursue your dreams. And so from the sidelines, I've been able to watch you grow, and I'm a huge fan of you. And I just want to say you deserve everything that is happening to you right now.
Thank you. You're gonna make me cry and mess up the makeup. I worked hard on this.
No, we don't want that. We want you to look right. So, but no, I am super proud.
Thank you, and I'm very appreciative to you and all that you have done for me as well. So that's why I wanted the world to get to hear what I get from you on a regular basis. Not everybody has a mentor. Not everybody has a mentor as strong as you. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing your wealth of knowledge with the people, because honestly, what you have to say has been a blessing to me, and I'm sure it's going to bless others. So thank you for being on Chat with Charli. I appreciate you, Dr.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good to see you.